Yeah, so here we go again. I haven't even uploaded the last talking to myself. It is still Monday. The time is 29 to midnight, I guess. Um, reason I am here again, here being the figurative here, as you can tell there now is a reflection. I am downtown of the town I grew up in. I remembered something I've been meaning to talk about, but I haven't. Which is I had parked illegally. Like no kidding. I only found out after the fact, and I still paid for it. I paid $11.20 to the town, $12.88 in total. The delta between that is the provider for the app I use for paying for parking, because I don't got to pay when I'm no longer parking. I don't got to pay ahead. I pay after the fact, so it's quite nice, you know. And the reason I parked illegally is it was a reduced traffic area, which means you can only park in marked places, which I fully know. I believed I had. The line on the floor I saw does not exist. I must have been hallucinating it, because there is a clear line on the floor. It is on Google as well, but the ossifer, who apparently decided I was worth a fine, decided there is not a line. It's not worth for me the risk of bringing it to court or fighting it, because it was just €10 warning fee, which means I end up paying. And I now realise lines may be subjective on the floor, which is a condition of paying the reduced fine of just a tenner. Oddly enough, though, the tenner is cheaper than the parking fees I paid, and I'll deem it highly likely I would have gotten the same tenner in fees had I not paid for parking, which means at times not paying for your parking is significantly cheaper than paying for your parking. What have I learnt from this is the question now. I think I might just abuse this flaw in the system until I'm at the break even, as in until I would have paid as much in parking fees as I'm now paying extra, because I'm paying double for parking once. And I don't mind bending the rules for that, because in the end of the day, it's getting back what I'm entitled to in my head, which is another thing I've been thinking about a lot. I intend on fully making a thing called my mission statement. This is not that, but it will contain significant chunks this do, but it will be better produced. I'll probably have some notes to read off of, you know. I aim to work within the system as much as possible. If too many elements of the system do not function for the system to work, I will still work in the spirit of the system, but that does not mean that I will surrender what I am entitled to within the system. Just if elements of the system aren't working because people aren't doing their jobs and no one's enforcing it, or people are doing their jobs too well and not seeing lines where there is. Where I am now is a very similar situation. Signs state absolutely no halting, but there is clear markings on the floor making this a legal spot for parking, not just halting. And oddly enough, you don't even need a parking slip for parking here, because all the other places have that, but this one does not. I'd highly suspect one would get a fine if one were to park here during town times, and if it's a tenner, I'd pay it. But if it's more than that, I'd take it to court because I'd win. And it wouldn't even be taxing my insurance, because in the end of the day, if I win, does government have to pay for my lawyer as well, which is a funny concept, I guess. If you're right, it don't cost you nothing to take someone to court. Today we've got, now at this late hour, I have gotten some junk food snack at the Burger King. King Churros cinnamon and sugar. I've never had that before, but it looked alright on their menu, so here we go, you know. Might as well give it a try. Don't look too impressive. I don't know from which cuisine it is. Very fatty. Perhaps a Scottish, who knows. I don't see that there's any sugar though, which means it might be in my bag. Haha. Haha. I believe it's a Scottish cuisine. I would not do it again for the money. They cost $3.50. And I also got a burger for €2, and I got another burger for free. Because they're closing up. End of the shift and all, you know. Yeah, these things do not look remotely as they do on the menu. Would not do again for this kind of money. $3.50 is way too much. Could be alright, I guess. They aren't a meal, they're a snack, really. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Scottish cuisine. If it's not Scottish, it's American also. Or French. With that name, I'd almost guess Spanish, but I wouldn't know. Because these days, the world is a melting pot of culture. Anyways, back to what I'm working on mentally in my time off. That is not my thesis time. I will also always obey the rules unless there is ethical conflict. So, if I must not do something with ethics, I will not do it even if the rules state I must, but that is rarely the case, really. It's good to have things like this predefined, you know. Yeah, it's kind of funny how that worked, because in the end of the day, I got fined even though I paid for parking because of a matter of interpretation. Was there a line? Was there no line? In my eyes, there is a line. A computer can see a line. If I think of it, I might even add one into the thumbnail. The very one, that is. It's just odd, because enforcement of rules shouldn't be up to the individual. It should be measurable. And if I can see a line, a computer can see a line, and people can see a line. There was a lot of cars parked there beside me. They also saw a line, I highly suspect. So it shouldn't be up for arbitrary or fucking enforcement, you know. There either should be a line or there should not be one. If there is not one, and I see one and others see one, they didn't do a good enough job removing the one that was there once upon a time. Today's drink, because I ain't spent any extra money, is this peach flavoured water, which is my car water. It's just so I have something to keep me hydrated while driving, you know. I've actually been out longer than I thought I was going to be. Oddly enough, at the traffic light earlier, I was in the straight and right turning lane. To my left was the left turning lane. The straight and right turning lane stoplight turned green. The plod in front of me first started creeping. They were indicating right the entire time. Then they turned on their blue flashy strobe lights and turned left. To the right would have been the police station, so I highly recommend. I highly suspect, not recommend. Too much words in a day, you know. I highly suspect they were going to go for break or shift end. But they were called to the main railway station, which is just down the road on the left. Pot luck for them, I guess. They were still there when I drove by 10 minutes later, so that's the way it is, I guess. Then again, with the rules in this town, first off, there is a lot of things that are up for interpretation around here. There's a lot of signs stating no motor vehicles, unless you have a reason to be here. But unless you have a reason to be here legally is very low precedent. So if you need to park somewhere and there's parking there, that's enough of a reason. And that's what this area, if you like, there's not so many plod. Not so many people breaking rules. Hell, I mean, besides a bit of speeding at night time, 10 minutes again, there we go. Besides people speeding at night time, there's not that much going on, you know. It's nice, I like it. These churros, I do not like, on the other hand. They feel like someone took some chips with a star grater instead of a regular one and put some mash through and then deep fried it. I don't know, that's just how it feels. The cinnamon sugar do help though, it's fucking sweet. Yeah, anyways, I think I'm going to get back to my mother sometime rather soon. I'll then upload the previous session and this one. And then I'll go for a good night's sleep. I hope when it's time for you to go for a good night's sleep, you'll get a good night's sleep. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching. It truly means the world to me. I'll see you around. Cheerio.